This is Banc Binaries ahead of the week report for November 26th. The Eurogroup still hasn't made a decision on the next bailout payment for Greece. How is the Euro reacting to the uncertainty? And what are your expectations for the next developments?
Well, look, there's a lot of uncertainty and speculation about what's or how Greece can achieve its austerity measures, and if it has done in the past, it doesn't look like they have. The Troika, they're responsible for the Greece's fate. It looks like there's some fracture coming up between them. Ministers aren't helping it by making definite plans, so it's uncertain. It definitely is uncertain.
Still pessimism to optimism. I mean, bearish uncertainty, but they're trying to reach a resolution. I don't see anybody letting Greece fail. They're not going to let complete chaos take over. And as long as Greece doesn't fail, it means that there's going to be some kind of resolution. I would still expect a bullish move in regards to the euro. I'd still expect one.
We've seen that. We've actually seen that today in the markets itself. The world economy seems to be, picking up a bit of pace from months or quarters of slowdown of growth. China's a prime example.
Last-minute resolutions.
Exactly. They're going to be forced to really, when the economy, and that's the main driver. So the politicians want to play their games for the power, but really the main concern is economy. When there are signs for the economy to grow, the politicians are kind of pigeonholed to react. They have to come to compromise. So we expect that they will find a compromise at the 11th hour, as they always do, and the markets will form the trend base from there. But we expect that trend to be obviously in the bullish area.
Is Banc Binaries still bullish on oil?
Yes, in the long run. Okay, especially with the PMI figures from China and related PMI figures today from Germany and France. The manufacturing output is increasing, so obviously that's going to increase the demand for oil. This has been exacerbated recently because oil is very much traded between technicals and obviously the economic data, the fundamentals. So we've had uncertainty in the Middle East with the Israel-Palestinian issue that was ceasefire came into force yesterday. Egypt made the announcement. Oil went down.
But how much do we actually do you think that we're actually seeing oil being impacted by the Middle East situation? I mean, there are two factors that I've taken into consideration. The first factor being oil is still down 11% for the year. You're not going to change that. And the second one in the Middle East, traders are finally realizing that an Israel-Palestinian conflict actually has no effect on the demand or supply of oil globally. So what you saw, a $3 rise, a $2 fall, it wasn't anything that I would worry about or even take into consideration as let's say a fundamental factor in regards to crude oil. But I would say that I am still bullish on oil. I'm definitely still bullish on oil in that term.
Consumer confidence and durable goods orders are out in the US front. What are your expectations here?
Positive. Household sentiment has already come out in the positive area. Obviously, that's going to relay its way down to the individual consumer confidence. If you have a look at the durable goods, usually tied quite closely to the home sales and the housing data, that's been positive. So people are buying houses, building houses. They're buying bricks, they're building washing machines, okay? So we're expecting that on the back of that previous data, we should expect positive data. But the market probably has already weighed that in at the higher levels. So positive results, but it's going to be down to the professionals to predict where the trend's going to fall.
If you're gonna trade on those results, though, I'd have to use the term that I'm going to stay agnostic to these results. I'm going to trade the result. I don't want to trade an expectation. I'd prefer to trade a result. I think specifically when talking about those economic indicators, I'm going to trade a result. Because otherwise, when we're talking about binary options, I'm still not sold that I should wait for an economic indicator that's not massive, such as the NFP, unemployment, so on, and expect it and then trade right before. Exactly the opposite. I'm going to wait for the result to come out. I'm going to look at the market trend, and ride it out.
As as a senior broker here, I'm always telling my clients, never trade ahead of the news, wait for the news. You're not a market maker, so step back and let them make you money.
New home sales are in the spotlight after Ben Bernanke's comments about a slower than expected recovery. Do you see a bright spot at all on this?
Well, yeah, I mean, if you have a look at the political position that the EU is finding itself in at the moment, with obviously the Greek decision, the political wrangling, but the economic pressure to actually find a resolve. You know, Bernanke's statement about there being troubled times ahead is really putting it in the same position. There are clear indicators that the US economy has the opportunity to take advantage of a spell of growth, but it's down to the politicians to stop banging their heads and rattling their swords, make a decision that's best for the people and the people they serve, and take advantage. But, you know, it should mean that a good and positive outcome will come from it.
I completely agree with David. I think the U.S. right now has a chance to grow. Look, with all the news in Europe right now and the Eurozone and decision regarding Greece, not a lot of attention has been given to the dollar. And what people haven't been noticing lately is the rise of the dollar. And it's basically going to continue happening. And in my opinion, there's three major factors that will move it forward. One is the U.S. economic data. Okay, the U.S. economic data right now, what I'm looking at is first-time Labor Department figures. First-time claimers declined by 41,000 in a weekly comparison. I'm also looking at overall weekly change, shows 410,000. The claims total is down from a revised 451,000 last week, the most in about a year and a half. Now, the bearish figure is still being seen as temporary, widely affected by Hurricane Sandy. Now, instead of reading off a page, I'm just going to put it down very, very simply. Euro USD right now, the euro, the dollar is still stronger by the euro by 0.5% year to date. Against the Canadian, it's down 2.15%. Against the Japanese yen, you're talking about 7.5% gain since the beginning of the year. So the three factors, like I said, one, the U.S. economic data, two, the Japan story, and three is, like he mentioned before, Mr. Ben Bernanke and the fiscal cliff. Those are three factors, and we're going to see the U.S. dollar just continuously rising in the near future. And maybe the attention will start focusing back onto what's going on within the States as to what's going on on the international scale.
US preliminary GDP is out on Thursday. What do you expect?
Last couple of figures have been flat. Positive figure before that, two negative figures before that. So, you know, if you're looking at it from a statistical point of view, it's a seesaw. But, you know, looking from my perspective, I believe it's going to be a positive result. There's a crest, there's a wave forming from an economic standpoint for growth ahead of the US. That will be the nail in the coffin, I think, for a push of political sentiment to reach a resolve to the fiscal cliff that's ahead. So, you know, I'm hoping that it will come out positive.
The question is, how much movement will we actually be seeing
that's always the question.
on our main currencies? I mean, I don't see much to trade on personally. I don't see much to trade on, and if you're a neutral trader and you like to trade sideways trend, okay, I can see that happening. Other than that, I don't see a big trend or a trade being put down because of the announcement.
What do you see gold doing next week? Will it break out of its sideways trading trend?
It is a difficult question because there are so many different fundamentals that are going to play a part on it. Obviously, you've got the Eurozone, but not so much. I think gold and our projection for a bullish outlook over the next 12 months is very much tied to the American position with the fiscal cliff that's looming. Really, the trade is going to be whichever side. There's going to be a trade, but again, as Oren mentioned before, you know, don't trade ahead of the news. We're waiting for the fiscal cliff, and you know, the decision that comes out from that will decide gold's fate. We believe they'll overcome the fiscal cliff, which should have a positive effect on gold.
I still see gold as being one of the hottest traded products in the world. Nothing can stop it from hitting 1,800, in my opinion, in the very near future. It is still something to fall back on. Gold is always something to fall back on. I'd continue falling back on it. Traders in the short term have a lot of action from it in the past few days. They'll continue to have a lot of action. I still believe that there's a lot of money to be made on gold, especially in the very near future. I'm still very bullish. Still very bullish.
Metal all round had good results today in the market, so yeah, should be good.
Gentlemen, thank you very much.